call of the Hawks can be heard all the way to San Francisco.
You're listening to Pod at the Palace with Curtis Wilkerson on Inside Arkansas.
And welcome in to the Pod at the Palace post-game live reaction show presented by SARACEN. It's Arkansas's #1 sports betting app. I'm Curtis Wilkerson, joined by Andrew Ellis. And we're here to break down Arkansas's 79-75 win over Samford. Man, a lot to get into here. Okay, let's get all the formalities out of the way first. A win is a win. Okay, so you avoided disaster. So there's that. Credit Samford for playing well. We spent 40 minutes talking on the Pod at the Palace this morning about the ways that they could challenge Arkansas that some of the other opponents they played so far haven't. But a largely unimpressive showing from the Razorbacks. Honestly, I thought the first half was all right. You know, they got out there down or up 10 and, you know, some things here and there, some, you know, careless turnovers. Okay. A few missed assignments on defense, giving up some threes. Okay. But I was happy with the energy and everything like that. Second half, I was very unimpressed with Arkansas in this game. They've got a lot that they've got to work on both ends of the floor, but they escaped this one with a win. You just hope at this point that they learn some of the things they need to learn and get a little bit humbled and really focus in on getting some improvement here because, you know, you had these 4 games between Michigan State and Duke, Andrew, where you thought that they would work on some of the areas that might have got exposed a bit against Michigan State, make some incremental improvements, and then be ready to roll in a huge spotlight game. I sort of feel like they might be trending in the wrong direction right now, and they've got a week to figure that out. Not too impressed with the Razorbacks tonight.
Yeah, definitely not impressed at all. This is hopefully going to be a game that we just completely forget about soon and that we just move on and we look back on and we say, oh, yeah, that was a cool thing that happened and it didn't really mean anything, you know? Like, I don't think we're going to look back when Arkansas had a great season and say, oh, yeah, they turned it on against Samford. And I also don't think that when Arkansas' season ends, wherever that may be, first round, second round, NIT, Elite Eight, Final Four, I don't think we're going to look back and say, yep, well, we knew. When Samford went 10 for 29 from 3 against them, that's when we knew. I really don't think this game is indicative of Arkansas's overall identity, and I don't think it's necessarily a sign of things to come. But like you said, you want to start seeing some of that improvement, and so it's not a big deal. You kind of walk your way through the Southern game. Okay, whatever. You play a good team, Michigan State. You lose that one, close one. You can kind of excuse it in one way. You kind of sleepwalk Tuesday. I felt like they were kind of flat in that one as well. I didn't think it was like a super inspired performance. I'm waiting for the time that they like overcorrect and really whip someone's ass, you know, overcorrect with a 48-point performance where you play with your hair on fire on defense. We just haven't gotten that. And again, it's not the end of the world. Like there's plenty of time in the season for them to turn it on. And I'm sure that when the stakes rise, they're going to play harder. I mean, hell, they played pretty hard in the Michigan State game for the most part. I do anticipate some of these things will get cleaned up just by there being a carrot dangling in front of this team. But I definitely don't love some of the bad habits that you see, some of these communication issues defensively that are just at some point, it's not a thing that like, oh, you got to get worked out. It's like, that's a facet of your basketball team after a while. I mean, the sample size isn't massive yet, but it is growing a little bit. And again, against Samford, a team that, has their ways they can threaten you, but really it's just that they're not the type of team that can really overcome this and beat a team like Arkansas and really expose it. But better teams will. They can and they will. If Arkansas continues to kind of play this lackadaisical effort on the defensive end, which I don't anticipate is going to be, something they carry into conference play. But I think it's always a red flag when you have a team that truly believes they have an on-off switch. And I think this Razorback team does think, oh, yeah, we can turn it on when we need to and we can coast when we need to, which is true. But you don't necessarily want them operating with that in mind.
We saw that in this basketball game. Yeah, they put put their foot on the gas there. And for a minute, I thought, okay, Arkansas is going to be able to handle business here. Samford will hit enough threes to keep it respectable for a while, and Arkansas wins by 25, 30 points. And then the Razorbacks once again get content trying to defend Samford's half-court action instead of dictating things defensively. That's what pisses me off about this team right now, because if they're just sitting back on their heels and they're casual and they're trying to communicate through some things where this team is locked in and they're backdooring you and they're getting wide open threes and they're picking your asses apart in pick and roll defense, you're going to get scored on. And then you're playing their tempo. You're walking the ball up the floor. And it's like, what are we really doing here? And then all of a sudden, to your point, Andrew, the game tightens up way too close for comfort in the second half. And it was about a 3-minute stretch there where Arkansas decided, you know what? maybe we should be the aggressor for a minute here. And we're going to come up with some block shots, some steals, some deflections. We're going to get in passing lanes. We're going to run the floor, play with some physicality for a change. We're going to crash the offensive glass. Thank you, Billy Richmond. And next thing you know, they get it up to 15. And then just like you said, they got that on-off switch. So, okay, we've done enough to where this thing is out of jeopardy, and we're just going to coast the rest of the way. And next thing you know, you're having to shoot free throws at the end of the game against a Samford team that, listen, I'm glad that Arkansas played them. I think it's a really good team to have on the schedule and test yourself with early. Arkansas is going to play far more talented teams and better teams throughout the course of the season. But this Samford team is the kind of team that can beat you in the first round of the NCAA tournament by doing exactly what they did, making you feel some game pressure, and you have to respond. So I like that they did that early, but I just wasn't too pleased with the overall response there from Arkansas. And if you look at it, man, offensively, 79 points in this basketball game. They shot half as many threes as they have. I feel like it got in their head a little bit. You started hearing Cal talking about, bad shot here, bad shot there. And how many three-pointers did Malik Thomas attempt in this game? 2. 1 of 2. You think he's not thinking about it when he's getting yelled at the entire game? For 40 minutes, he's getting screamed at about bad shot here. Don't do this. Don't do that. He's a freshman. I think it might be getting in his head a little bit there. Darius Acuff was mostly pretty good in this basketball game, but look at the no-shows again here. Carter Knox, after that bounce-back performance, 18 and 10, double-double, 4 points in this game for Carter, and he had 6 rebounds and a couple turnovers. You got to have more than that from a guy who's a projected draft pick from you. Your center position in this basketball game combined for 2 points on 1 of 4 shooting. Let's see. Nick Pringle had 1 rebound, and Malik Ewan had, shocker, 0. That is absolutely, it just can't happen. That cannot happen under any circumstance. The only 2 guys you went and got out of the portal, 2 points and 1 rebound. That's insane to me. I didn't realize that until I started looking at this box score. And so now it makes sense why Arkansas only out rebounds Samford by 1 in this entire basketball game. This group's got a lot to figure out, man. And it's one of the, endearing qualities about this roster when it was put together, Andrew, was retention, right? Oh, they should be ahead of schedule because they got 4 guys back off of that Sweet 16 team. Like, the foundation is laid. These guys have an understanding of the system, and they can, bring the new guys along. There should be a streamlined process here. Nope. They got a lot to figure out. Still as talented as we thought they were, still had the potential to do all the things that we thought they could do. Like, it's not panic time. But they need a sense of urgency, and hopefully this was a kick in the ass to get them in the right direction here, because they are not as good as they think they are right now.
Yeah, Curtis, the other day you mentioned, obviously, that the front court hasn't been as good as you would hope they would be, and that you were kind of borderline thought, hey, this group actually might be able to overachieve, because there wasn't a ton of people coming into the year that were like, hey, Arkansas's front court is going to be dominant or anything. So it's really not a thing where we thought this team was going to be, a bunch of Hakeem Olajuwons getting 20 and 10 or anything, but you just kind of looked at what Trevin Brazile has done in his career, what we know he's capable of, and think, okay, we could get a good version of him. Nick Pringle, he's pretty limited in skill set, but it's a skill set that Arkansas could use, and so you kind of know what you're getting there. And then Malik Ewan, we know how high of a ceiling he has. We know that you're not going to have every matchup where all 3 of those guys can play well. It's just really not something that's realistic. And I don't even know if that should be the expectation, but you definitely can't have all 3 stink. And I know Trevin finished with, I think, he had 14 points in this game, had some nice moments here and there in his return to action. Malik Ewan had that one 12-second stretch where I was like, hey, gets a block on the one end. Hey, man, this looks awesome right there. I know. And that was really it. You got to get a little bit more out of your front court. The thing that concerns me is, identity is such a big thing in basketball, and I don't think this team has 0 identity. They know who their guys are. They know these 2 freshmen. This team is going to live and die with these freshmen, which frankly I'm okay with. But it really, even offensively, it's just hey, I got a couple good freshman guards that can get pretty good shots for the most part, and they'll make some things happen. But that pretty much is the extent of Arkansas's identity on either end of the floor. It's not like they have a consistent set of, okay, yeah, we run these actions and get these spots on the floor and we attack here. It's really just, hey, these 2 freshman guards, we trust them to make plays, and they make a lot of them. Cool. On the defensive end, not particularly great around the perimeter, not particularly great on the interior, not particularly long. Length would probably be one of their best attributes, but it's there's not something specific that teams have to go into these matchups and be like, yo, you got to watch out for Arkansas. They really pressure you on this side of the floor. Oh, they really play the passing lanes here. They just kind of react to what you do offensively, and sometimes they're in position to stop you, sometimes they're not. There's not really things that this Arkansas team threatens you with other than two really good guards and some nice little supporting cast characters who kind of fluctuate all between themselves.
Yeah, for sure. And I got to give credit to Lenny Acuff, man, Samford's coach. We talked about it where, he was at Lipscomb the last couple years, and they damn near beat Arkansas and North Little Rock. I think it was a 3-point game a couple years ago. Last year, that was the opener for the Razorbacks, and Arkansas struggled throughout the course of that one. They pulled away a little bit more comfortably. I think it was 76-60 was the final. And then this one was obviously way too close for comfort. That style of basketball, I mean, honestly, that's the Oakland, that's the St. Peter's, that is what you're going to see in a round of 64 games. So again, I want to reiterate, I'm happy that Arkansas played this game because they needed to see something like that, because that's really going to show you some of the deficiencies that you have as like a team defense specifically. I didn't expect Arkansas to walk out of this game wondering what went wrong offensively, because that was one of my biggest thoughts going into the game was, yeah, they might struggle to defend some of these actions and it's going to be good for them and they'll learn from it, but they'll score 100 points if they want to score 100 points because these dudes aren't going to be able to guard them. And they were. I thought the half-court offense was better in the first half in terms of, movement and just having some purpose, setting some real screens, some decent actions. And then the second half, when things tightened up, it kind of reverted back to that my turn basketball that Cal talks about so much. And eventually they turned it up and did some defense to offense stuff to pull away just enough. But, oh, man, it's got to figure some things out. Here we are again. I was really hoping we wouldn't have to do this, where it was like, oh, the talent's there. They're going to be good when they figure it out. But a lot to work on, a lot to get better at before they play Winthrop on Tuesday night.
Man, second half for Arkansas, 13 of 33 from the floor, 1 of 6 from 3. I understand we were all very critical of the three-point volume, although we did say it's not necessarily the volume that I hate. It's just kind of the method that you use to get there. I did feel like this was an overcorrection. I don't anticipate Arkansas is going to take 17 threes every game. I don't think they're going to take 34 threes every game. I think it'll find some, but I did think this was kind of like you mentioned, Malik Thomas kind of hearing Cal's voice in his head. I think that was what we saw here. Ultimately, Curtis, like when this season plays out, believe it or not, I know it doesn't seem like it today, Arkansas is going to beat teams way better than Samford, and they're going to play better, better than they played tonight. They're going to beat teams by a much larger margin, and you'll say, man, how did that happen? Well, clearly, their motivation will change. They'll find things they can do well together. They'll gel a little bit and all that. Again, we're going to look back at this game and we're going to kind of forget that it happened, I would imagine. And so in a big picture nutshell, I don't really care that much that Arkansas didn't get up for a Samford game, but I wish that they just enjoyed, like they kind of looked at each other and saw all these games in this time of the year as an opportunity to kind of have some fun playing together, really put it on someone and improve your numbers. And hey, maybe we might find an action that we really like tonight. Like I wish they seemed really bought in on trying to get better together. I think they're kind of okay to just get by during this time of the year, which given the schedule and how it lays out, you kind of have that right, frankly, leading up to the Duke game to mail it in and just kind of sleepwalk through these games. If they do that the next 2 games, they will continue to win and they'll continue to get away with it. I just wish that they, took it a little bit more seriously just for the sake of getting better together, just because there's things I want to see. I want to see you learn while you're playing well. I feel like the parent who when you're overly protective of your child, as Curtis, and now that you've had such a long time in parenthood, you're so overly protective of your child. And it's like, he's going to be fine. Like he's not actually going to, hurt himself, but you're just so worried he will. You almost kind of want him to learn the lesson a little bit. You're like, I kind of want you to scab your knee up a little bit, just so just so you'll be a little bit more safe next time.
Yeah, that's a pretty good analogy there. And it's crazy, coming into this game, Jaden Booth, number 2 for Samford, was averaging 28 a game, and he was shooting nearly 50% from 3, 6 threes made per game. And you look at this one, you hold him to 14, so half of his average, 2 of 10 from 3, 3 of 15 overall. So they did a hell of a job on the star player. That's great. But then you look at a guy like Zion Wilburn, number 8, who he went for 15 points in 17 minutes. He was 6'9" from the field. He hit 3 threes. I went and looked because I was like, I don't think I even mentioned this dude's name in the pregame. And it was one of those guys that came into Bud Walton Arena. It was averaging like less than a point per game, 12% 3-point shooter on his career. and he kind of went crazy on him. And I guess eventually they adjusted, but he hit 3 in a row there at one point in the first half. And I was like, good God, guard this guy. And then I thought, oh, yeah, that it probably wasn't in the scout that this dude is a shooter. And so now you have to make an adjustment. But man, Trevin Brazil back in this game, came off the bench, 15 points for Arkansas, 7 rebounds. I thought he did some really good things. I was happy with, kind of him hunting his offense a little bit early. Then at the end of the day, he finished 1 of 5 from 3. So Trevin shot 5 of Arkansas's 17 3-pointers in this game, which is also interesting to me. It wasn't like Arkansas was really able to live in the lane and get those paint touches like you normally see from them with their guards. But yeah, Malik Thomas and Darius Acuff, 2 guys who, probably average 15 threes per game between the 2 of them, only 5. I thought DJ played fairly well in this game in spurts, but Billy, I would say, I'm trying to think, out loud here as we go through this, like, oh, who the hell is going to get the MVP in the report card? I really don't know. It's
probably Acuff.
Stats wise, I guess Acuff. I will give Billy
really
an honorable mention because he made some really good plays in there on both ends. He was kind of the energy catalyst when Arkansas put that run on him, but they got to figure some things out. Anything else you want to get into before we move over to the chat and see how everybody's feeling? I think people are kind of in line with us. I've been kind of looking at it with side-eyeing it, and a lot of people are pissed, like, okay, what's really going on here? They got to figure some things out, but I don't see any of the massive overreaction. I think they're kind of like us, where it's like, all right, not impressed with that. That's not okay. What the heck is going on? It's time to get it right.
Yeah, well, it's like I think sometimes when a game happens, you just feel like you're like, all right, this is the moment we have to come to a verdict on the team. And so if we're going to do that tonight, it's going to be a bad verdict. Like so far, the sample size we have, Arkansas has not performed particularly great, and so we can evaluate that for what it is. I just don't know if necessarily tonight is the time to do it. But I got to be honest, man, I am disappointed, and I do think we just have to stop, expecting Arkansas to get a ton of respect. Going to that Duke game, people are going to be counting Arkansas out. It's perfectly fine. It's like you kind of just are what your metrics say you are at this point, and it just kind of sucks.
Need them to have a good week next week. I would appreciate it if these next 2 games go better than the last 2. Although I'll certainly take the wins over the losses, but that goes without saying. Hey, tonight's post game show is brought to you by our friends over at BetSaracen, Arkansas's #1 sports betting app. Maybe if you walked out of there frustrated, you looked at your BetSaracen app and you took advantage of some of those double R props, and you got out of there with a little bit more cash. Some of them actually hit, despite what was a little bit of a weird game. But check out BetSaracen's no strings attached special, where new users can bet $25 and get $125 instantly. All you got to do is download the BetSaracen app by scanning the QR code that you see there on your screen and use code INSIDEAR to get $125 instantly when you bet your first 25. It's BetSaracen, Arkansas's #1 sports betting app. We're also brought to you by our partners over at OZK Insurance. Nobody wants to deal with the hassle of shopping around. That's why I use and recommend OZK Insurance. They're based right here in Arkansas. They shop multiple carriers to find the best coverage and price for you, whether it's home, auto, business, you name it. Whether it's Saturdays at Razorback Stadium or everyday life, you want protection you can count on. You can count on OZK Insurance with over 600 5-star Google reviews. Give them a call today. Get a free online quote at ozkinsurance.com or the phone number 479-715-4200. It's OZK Insurance, protection made simple. Okay, chat time. What we got going on over here? Hey. Shout out to Hogboy23. He's a new member. We like that. Even in a weird type of game, we got people signing up to listen to this. We appreciate it. T Razorback, thank you for the super chat. Says right now this team does not appear to have the Final Four ceiling that we thought.
So I obviously don't I get how you would come to that conclusion of, this doesn't look like a Final Four team right now. Tonight's game means literally nothing when we're talking about Arkansas' ceiling. And I know that ceiling is sometimes something that people throw out because you're just like, oh, yeah, this guy has an unlimited ceiling. No, does he really? You know what I mean? Like, what is his actual ceiling? I mean, because this game, your ceiling is the best possible way you could play when you're at the peak motivation, the peak, we've got all our ducks in a row. We know our identity. We know what we want to do. And so I can understand why tonight's game, it's very troubling. And there's a lot, we're going to talk about a lot of it, but it has absolutely zero bearing on what Arkansas's ceiling is.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Nobody is, maxing out their potential at this stage of the year. Everybody's got stuff to work on. Some are further along than others. Some teams look really great early. They peak. and then they fade down the stretch once the book is out on them. So I get it, but yeah, if you ask me tonight if this Arkansas team was going to make a Final Four, I'd say it's more likely they get popped in the round of 64 after
100%.
what we just saw. But there have been other times throughout the course of whether it's the first few games here or the exhibitions where I've gone, good Lord, this team could be really, really good. They still got that in them. They're just not quite as far along right now as at least as I thought they would be. So another one from T Razorback, we appreciate it. He says, I would like to officially request a refund on Ewan. I want to pull up another one here. Official Gibb. He says, I hate the way Ewan sets picks and plays so nonchalantly. His effort is terrible. We've got not a burner 25, no rebounds for Ewan. Not shocked at all. I understand this, but I'm just going to point out something here. Okay. Arkansas just had the game that it had. Malik Ewan played 8 minutes. He contributed to 8 minutes of this. We do this as Razorback fans, and I'm not criticizing anybody for feeling the way they feel, because I get really irritated with the Malik Ewan stuff too. 100%. I get it. But we do this thing where it's not even, because Cal does the deal where he's like, oh, well, Billy, every time he's the fan favorite. We pick someone to hate on every basketball team, and it happens right away, and there's no escaping it. And it was like that with Chris Likes. It's been like that with other guys. And here's the thing. There's a lot of basketball to be played yet. Okay. So I would ask you to at least keep an open mind. We're only 4 games into this thing here. And I don't know that I can blame Malik Ewan for what transpired tonight when he played 8 minutes in this basketball game. Now, he picked up a couple early fouls and he got out of there. When he was in there for that first segment, I was happy with what I saw from him. He was active. He was moving harder. He was not ball watching. There were some good things there that Malik Ewan did. He had the turnover, sprinted his ass back, and had the chase down block. That's a hustle play that we don't normally see from him. A very well executed pick and roll lob that he was able to dunk there. Then he comes back in, he picks up another foul. You don't see him too much in this game. So if we want to be frustrated with the return on the investment so far, heck yeah, man, go find John Tyson. He's there on the sidelines and ask him for your refund. You can do that. If we want to be irritated that he hasn't been playing better to the point where he gets more minutes in a game like this and has more of an impact, that's fine. But as far as what transpired tonight, I can't put all that on him.
That's very well said, and it's a good point. And to be clear, it's not that we're arguing that Malik Ewan was good at all in this game. Like he, was pretty much a net nothing. I don't think, like, I don't even know if I could point to plays and be like, oh man, Ewan was bad on this play. I can only point to the 2. He had the dunk. The dunk was nice, and then the block, which, like, again, 2 very small plays in an 8-minute stanza. I really don't remember much out there, but I think blaming him for this is, I don't know if confirmation bias is the term here, but it's like kind of, you just see Arkansas suck defensively, gave up a ton of threes in the second half, got out rebounded, and you think, okay, Malik Ewan sucks, so that's probably how that happened, right? And I just don't know if that necessarily applies here. It's like when Arkansas baseball has a game where they get shut down, and it's like, oh, Nate Thompson. It's like, I get how your brain would make that, but it's like sometimes the game plays out and there's a story there that's just completely separate. Like you said, he played literally 20%, 25% of, and it really is less, because it was less than 8 minutes. I think it was like probably 7:36 or something like that. Played less than a quarter of a 40-minute game.
And that's an issue. Like, if we're looking at things moving forward, that's very problematic for Arkansas. Nick Pringle, who I would say has just been solid for the Razorbacks all year. It's like you can pencil in, 7.7 rebounds or something for him.
Frankly, Pringle, if I were gonna come into this post-game show and completely decimate a big man, it would be Nick Pringle. I thought he was a complete 100%. nothing burger out there.
He played 18 minutes. And so the larger scale issue for Arkansas is that you chose to only go get 2 players out of the transfer portal, and it was your 1 and 2 center spot, and neither one of them were particularly playable against Samford. And so you had to spend most of the game with Trevin Brazile running the 5, which you're not going to be able to do against most teams in the SEC. So did Arkansas get better at that position tonight? No. Did they answer any questions at that position tonight or with their front court? No. So if we're looking ahead, buddy, that's tip top of my list of concerns. But yeah, I'm not gonna blame you in too much for tonight, at least.
We'll at least let him play and suck, and then we can blame him.
yeah, exactly. I'm sure we'll have more opportunities moving forward, probably Tuesday. So, Tamara, good to see you in here, Tamara. We appreciate you. We're thinking about you. And we know that you're pissed and we understand. She says, awful, pitiful, disgusting, no excuse. Get ready to fall another 16 spots in the rankings. They won't fall too far because they didn't lose this game. Now, if they would have, we wouldn't be talking about the top 25 for a while here. So they'll be safe from that standpoint. But if I would imagine, I don't know, if we go look at Ken Palm or, Torvik or those analytics or whatever, you were like a 25-point favorite and you won by 4 at home. They'll probably get dinged there. The offensive efficiency is going to be back down probably where it typically is, which is not what we want to see. Defense slipping a little bit. So from the analytics side of things, it's definitely not what you wanted from Arkansas. They need these style points. The style points matter, man. It's not the end all be all. You winning the games against the big teams and everything is what you really want to do. But this was not it's not a performance that we're going to write home about. That's for sure.
Well, and it's one of those things where it's like we could do the thing where we're really mad right now. And honestly, tonight's game does kind of make me mad.
We're mad.
But then clearly, if they go out there and if they win these next 2 and then beat Duke, I'm clearly not going to be mad anymore. Like I will gladly shut up. But then if they don't, then it like almost kind of makes you re-mad about tonight. And so it's like, honestly, if you feel the need to be angry, just wait until they lose to Duke, and then you can really be angry.
Right. T Razorback, thanks again. You might be onto something here. Chris likes Ellis, Malik Ewan, ACC boys. Is the SEC just different?
I would at least point out that these are bad ACC teams. That Miami team that Chris likes was on stunk. That Ellis team, they literally didn't win games at all.
It's true.
And Malik Ewan was on a really bad Florida State team. It's not that the ACC sucks, but if you take guys from losing cultures and try and get them to adapt to a winning culture, there is an adjustment period.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point there. I was trying to think because I was like, yeah, we do this before. Chris Likes was the one that immediately stood out to me, and I was like, who's the other one that was very obvious? Yeah, Ellis, man, he was he was a culprit for sure. The student section says ghost screens only work if you also set real ones. I agree. Yeah, like there is a time and place to cut that route a little bit short and slip a screen and get a layup or a dunk or whatever. You're 100% right. If there is no threat, if there hasn't been a single point in the game where you've actually hit someone with a screen, then you're right. It does no good for you. And it's just kind of lazy, pointless offense. And it's not doing your guards any favor. So if we're pissed that, DJ wasn't getting to the rim or, Acuff wasn't getting the paint cut touches and being able to spray it out, some of that does fall on the bigs for not doing their job. The one true screen that I saw somebody get popped today, and I was like, hell yeah, it was Billy Richmond.
Yeah, I was literally thinking about that exact same. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, he popped a dude, and I was like, that's what I'm talking about. But it's your third string point guard and your wing that's doing it, not your 240-pound big man there. So I
think when they get down into and by the way, I agree with student section. I agree with everything here. Yeah. When they get down into the nitty gritty film of this game, I think they're going to realize that there are a lot of opportunities with Trevin as a screener. There was a couple times where, they were kind of messing around doing the screen game. I think it was Acuff that was the ball handler here. And Trevin went out to the three-point line and nobody went with him. And Acuff didn't really see it. I think he ended up getting fouled or something. But there was like a couple times where I'm like, man, Brazil is actually the one guy that could be dynamic in different ways. They just need to commit to it. They don't run a ton of them. They don't ball screen with their bigs a ton, honestly.
Which is really strange to me because let's think about this for a minute. First of all, Darius Acuff is a wizard in the ball. He's really, really good pick and roll ball handler and decision maker. Malik Thomas, is a guy that can create. Maybe he's a little bit better in ISO, but you have one of the, I think, definitely more talented freshman point guards in the country who can really navigate those things well. Trevin, potential pick and pop / lob threat. Like he's versatile in those and you don't really run him. Nick Pringle, what is the one thing offensively he does well? Rolls, throw him a lob. That's it. And he can go try to grab an offensive rebound, which Arkansas doesn't do again this season. And then Malik Ewan is another, pretty versatile threat there. You want to get opposing bigs drug out on the perimeter and in some ISO situations with Malik Ewan. And it can't just be because you pass it to him on the wing and somebody's attempting to guard him. You know what I mean? So I'm with you. I don't know why they don't do more of those. I'm sure they have a reason, but everything I thought going into this season in terms of half court offense, I'm surprised that we're not seeing more of it. The high post initiation, Cal talked about more of the horn sets and the double bigs and all these different things. This wasn't really the game for it because you couldn't do it defensively, but I'm waiting to see some of those things, I guess is what I'm saying.
Dude, how about them starting the second half with, I believe it was Brazil and Ewan. Nah, I guess it was Brazil at the 5 and Carter at the 4.
And they put Billy in.
And it was 55 seconds that he ran with that lineup before he called timeout. 55. DJ came off the bench to start the second half. Just throwing that out there. Not the end of the world, but
Oh, goodness gracious, man. It looks like we have a clip here from John Calipari. I don't know what it is, but I want to play it because I do want to hear his reaction to this, and then we'll get back into everybody's chat. So let's see what this is. We're flying by the seat of our pants, but it looks like this was Cal's opening statement in his press conference.
13-15, and I'm yelling, pull it out, and the guy just went and shot it. They make a 3, they make a 2, all of a sudden it's 9. And again, trying to teach them how to win a game when you're at that point. We ran an offense where we were moving the ball just to use time and then go into it, and no one went into it. They all just stood and throw me the ball. My fault because we've done it, but we haven't done it enough to really drill it and be there. Again, rebounding. Come on. Got to come up with balls. If you watch the game, who was the player, the reason we won the game? One player.
Billy.
Yeah. It was Billy Richmond. And you know what Billy did? He played so hard and grabbed balls and tipped that Carter knew, I'm never going to play unless I do the same. And guess what? He's right. Why would you not play Billy and play Carter if Billy's going to do that stuff? So what did Carter start doing? The same thing. Now we got to get our 5s, the big guys, they got to get more balls. You got to be tougher. You got to play through some bumps. You got to play ahead defensively. But we'll get there. I mean, this is a good win. And let me tell you, I've coached against Lenny. He's a heck of a coach. And offensively, what they did and controlled the tempo, we were trying to take them out of stuff. They just keep grinding and doing their thing. And they played 2 days ago. And I believe they went to overtime. And they had that kind of energy and effort. It tells you about their coach.
Good win, eh?
Yeah, he might have lost me right there. But
if only the 6'6" guys can teach the big men how to rebound, then we could be on track, man.
Yeah, I mean it's like he's not wrong in his assessment about most of these things. He gets it, and I do like that he's not panicking or overly freaking out or anything like that. But I'm just being honest, and we love Cal, and I think he's done just a hell of a job here, better as a coach than we were led to believe he was going to be. I do kind of roll my eyes on a night like tonight when we're talking about, well, we haven't done this, and we're trying to do that, but blah, blah, blah. And I saw a Samford team that comes out there and just executes at such a high level with their stuff. Mm-hmm. What do you mean you didn't do it, or you couldn't do it, or guys were just standing there? That shouldn't be the case. It's just, it strikes me as an Arkansas team that's still very much trying to figure it out. But he's right about everything. The stuff with the big guys is just crazy to me. And it looks like, I want to play this other clip too, because it's titled Better Job Coaching. And so maybe that's exactly what Cal's getting ready to say. Like, hey, this is on me or whatever. I'm just curious to see. So we'll play that and then we'll hop back into it here.
DJ's playing pretty good. We work every day on back doors. Every day. Not for this game. I'm talking.
Work harder.
It's how we play. They probably got 8 layups on back doors, and those are 100%. That's 8 out of 8. If you know what you want them doing stuff away. We did a good job. I mean, the kid, Jaden Booth, I mean, we guarded him, and he is scoring 30 a game right now. So, but then they had some guys that didn't shoot a high percentage make 3 in a row. Like you say to your staff, who the heck is that guy? And they go, yeah, he's making 18%. I said, not today. So let's make sure we're guarding him. And he did a good job. Number 8, Zion Wilburn. Sheesh. How about how physical he was against our guys? He shouldered them and moved my big guys out of the way, shot layups. I mean, we got a ways to go. We got a chance to being good, but I got to do my job. This isn't about this team. This is about me and what I'm accepting. Trying to do individual meetings to let them know, but also let them know last year I played 6 guys. I'll do that again. I'll play 6.
Jesus.
You either deserve to be out there or you don't, and you got to be responsible and don't put your performance on another player on our team. There are things that you can do to play well. Do them.
That's great stuff right there.
I really do love this man. I do. Like, it's just after that first clip, I was like, and then he reeled me right back in. You know what I love, Andrew, is when we don't even need to play the John Calipari clips because it's already exactly what we've been saying for the last half hour. It's pretty good. Pretty good right there.
18%, not tonight. Not tonight. He's not. No, it's
moving my big guys out of the way.
Oh goodness, I do love that, man. Doing the individual meetings and hey, you gotta actually do things to play. Carter Knox, it might be the most. If there were a guy on this team who could afford to just do nothing and still get playing time, it would probably be Carter Knox. I love him saying that publicly, and of course, they're not going to actually just not play Carter Knox, obviously, but him saying that publicly, that there's something to that of like, yeah, Carter has to look at our off the bench wing and model him saying, hey, I got to do some of that. I thought Carter, he did attempt 1-3 in this game.
Yeah, he took 1.
Yeah, I know we're trying to get the 3-point shots out of him. I feel like he needs to take 4 a game, not 4 shots a game, 4 threes a game, and then maybe 7 or 8 shots, and just find ways to impact the game like Cal was talking about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I like what Cal said about the Billy and Carter thing because, similar position, whatever, and they can play together too, and that's fine. To piggyback off of your point there about let's get those, because Carter's he's a gifted offensive player. Would like to see him taking more than 5 shots in a basketball game. Certainly think he needs to be taking multiple threes. But when you take 1 3-pointer in 27 minutes of basketball and Billy Richmond is attempting 3 3-pointers in 27 minutes of like that's flipped. You know what I mean? And I'm really not upset. The worst 3-point attempt that Billy took is the one he made because he had a couple other pretty wide open ones there. It's like I'm not mad about those shots per se, but that needs to be inverted. Like Carter needs to be a volume shooter and scorer for you guys. And especially in a game where, because sometimes I understand it. Leak is fired up 10 threes and Acuff has 18 shot attempts. Both those guys shot 13 shots apiece today. Like they were, I think they listened to what Cal was saying about, hey, you're already shooting too many shots. Stop taking the bad ones. And it seemed like they were very aware of that. Acuff had a stretch there where he had some poor shot selection, but that's opportunity for other guys to start getting them up there. It was Trevin who understood the assignment. He had 14. He led the team in shot attempts in this basketball game. But yeah, I'm looking at a guy like Carter thinking this was your game to have a dozen shots getting up there, and you just didn't do it.
I also think there's just something too, like, there's some of those shooters, like Muss used to call them red shooters, where it's like you just kind of know, hey, if this guy has 1 inch, he's taking that shot. Mm-hmm. And hey, you're going to take and make a lot, but you're also going to take some that are maybe misses that you're like, oh man, could we have gotten a better shot, whatever. But the more teams kind of know, hey, if the ball hits that dude's hands on the wing and he's got even 3 inches, it's probably going up and it's got a decent chance of going in. It completely changes the way they not only defend you, the way they rotate, the way they overcommit to some things, just changes everything. And that comes back to my point about identity of like, you have to have traits about your team that teams just know, hey, if the ball swings here, this is going to happen. If this guy gets the ball here, this is going to happen. And you have to have them up all night worried about that. Yeah, I think teams look at Arkansas and they're like, hell, Carter Knox, we can kind of bully him into just not attempting shots. He'll go 10 minutes without even touching the ball. Cardio Knox, that's what we call him. It's like, I think that these guys individually need to find ways they can impact the game and just do them night in and night out. And you might not be as good every night, but it's like you have to have some sort of consistency with what you threaten the opponent with.
Yeah, that's very well said. I agree with that. And honestly, we've buried the lead the entire game. Ethan Eastwood, you're right, and we appreciate the super chat. Said I fully blame this performance on Nico Harrison. That was crazy. During the national anthem, or right at the end of the national anthem, I saw this really tall dude that was over there talking to John Tyson. I'm standing there by John Neighbors, and I'm like, who the hell is that guy? He looks very familiar. Then we started seeing the pictures going around. And I was like, oh God.
Well, dude, I mean, I knew, like, if you had asked me this morning if Nico Harrison was a big guy, I would have said, yeah, he's a big guy. I knew he was tall. That dude's a horse, man. He is a stunningly, and now John Tyson, not the largest man in the world. So sitting next to John Tyson, he's like literally twice his size. But yeah, he stuck out like a sore thumb at Bud Walton Arena on Gucci Row there.
Yeah, no kidding, man. Hairless Hog, just a hog of his word. We appreciate the super chat, although it probably doesn't feel as good to send after a game like this, but a win is a win is a win. He says, well, this is a game we would have lost at this time last year. Talent level is there. Cal needs to figure out what motivates these guys. Yeah, it's I just have a feeling that the growth curve for this team is going to be exactly what you were talking about a while ago, Andrew, with that on-off switch with this group, because I think we're going to see them play Duke, and they're going to play with their hair lit on fire, and it's going to be crazy. I don't know if they're going to win that game, but they will level up to play a team like that. That's a national championship contender, and we'll be walking out of there going, "Dang, man, yeah, this group's got a lot of potential, man. They really look good." I get so annoyed with the playing to the level of your competition. Now, Arkansas football plays slightly below the level of their competition, and Arkansas basketball has maybe sleptwalked a little bit in some of these games. Tonight was the first night I felt like they kind of really played down. Got to get over that hump there. And so the motivation thing is, I think, like, show them those clips of, okay, this is what happened when you guys took that from 2 or 4 points, whatever it was, to 15 in like the blink of an eye. And you got to be able to do that consistently throughout the course of a game if you're going to be a championship level team, and then show them where Samford made the runs that they did, and just like the difference. They're like, no, we're not playing this at 2 times speed. This is what you're capable of doing. No, this isn't in slow motion. This is what you are doing far too often. The film sessions will probably be very, very interesting with this basketball team, but that on-off switch, we talk so much about Malik Ewan and how it's such a motor-driven thing for him, and it's not like these guys aren't super competitive and everything like that, but I do get a little bit of a sense of, we know exactly how much we have to do to get through some of these games right here, and it almost caught them tonight.
It did, and I tell you, man, like we talk about motivation a lot, and I always say, man, these dudes are playing SEC basketball. Most of them want to play at the next level, are going to be playing basketball for the next decade. It shouldn't take you checking the calendar and seeing who your next opponent is and you liking that name that's flashy enough for you to where now I'm going to work hard. Now I'm going to try hard. Now I'm going to give effort. Like that, you should not have this sliding scale of effort, like that just shouldn't be the way it is. And I get it that, as much as we say that, as much as we preach that, it's going to be there to an extent, but tell me why the 2 freshmen who, have their issues that they need to work on, could be more efficient defensively. Of course, a lot to figure out. But they at least have that consistent, there's a consistent effort, but there's also a consistent, I just know what to expect from them. And I get it. Some games are better than others, but it's like they, get to the same spots on the floor. They take the same kind of shots. They, each game this year, I think Darius Acuff has had 16 points in all 4 games. There's just a consistency. Malik Thomas, every single time he walks into a basketball gym, he knows exactly who he is. He knows exactly what his job is. He knows exactly what he wants to do for the next decade. He wants to play basketball. He wants to play it at a high level. I just wish everyone on the team kind of took themselves that seriously. Like Carter Knox, you're a sophomore, and I understand that, I'm not saying Carter Knox doesn't give a ton of effort. I mean, he's had tons of games in his Razorback career where he does take it seriously, but it's like at some point you have to have that consistency of like, hey, I want to play basketball. I want to play it consistently at a high level day to day. This is just what I do. I hate not knowing what you're getting from like half the roster.
Yeah, it's unnerving when you don't know what you're going to get. It's unnerving, especially from the guys that you expected. Not what we see is what we're going to get, but we just know what to expect from the returners. And you're right, man. They're the ones that are a little bit unpredictable right now. T Razorback says last year's team was way better defensively. Nelly, Thero, even Big Z blocks. They've got some of the same issues going on right now that they did early in the year with pick and roll defense and stuff on the interior. And Nelly was a very underrated defender, so I'm glad you said that. But I'm glad that you put Thero in all caps, because I do think one thing that this Razorback roster is missing is that jumbo wing that can guard literally all 5 positions and completely turn the game on its head defensively and, attacking the glass and stuff like that. Thero is just different, man. And Arkansas's got a lot of pieces, and I do think this is a better team than the group that they had last year, but they did not replace what Thero brought to the table.
Yeah, why don't you just go find you a Thero just sitting
Exactly.
around somewhere, man?
Yeah.
Why didn't we bring in a guy like that? Speaking of
He
Thero,
changes everything.
I guess he did not play tonight for the Lakers.
He was
I thought he might
active,
be making his debut.
Yeah, it would have been cool. Would have been cool if he did. Paddlefish says, worse for resume to beat Duke and lose to Samford, or beat Samford and lose to Duke. Quad 1 win plus quad 4 loss. You can't take a quad 4 loss. You just can't do it. Remember when Arkansas lost to Hofstra, and or when they lost to UNC? Well, that team was in the gutter anyway. But that Hofstra loss haunted that basketball team all year. They went on that crazy run, won all those games, beat LSU 3 times when in the Will Wade's last year, and there was a ceiling put on that basketball team because of that blemish against Hofstra. It killed them.
Also, I guess I wasn't aware. Samford's quad 4.
They at home,
I know it's lower for
maybe
home.
3 or 4 is what
Okay.
they'll wind up being. Yeah, I don't remember exactly. Well, I mean, the net's not even out, so we don't know.
Right.
But
Well, yeah,
based off like Pin Pom or whatever. Yeah. And they're pretty good. I don't know if they're going to win their league or not, but they'll give some teams some hell. But at the same time, Tulane beat them by 15. You know what I mean? Like this is. I'm not going to go so far to be like this is unacceptable. Now, if they lost, it'd have been a different story. But
that would be.
This is a D performance, man. Come on. Sheesh. Good question. From Bo says Curtis is a former coach. How would you fix the 5 spot? I don't really know, to be honest with you. I don't know what motivates these guys. Some people respond to tough love. Some people need to be coddled a little bit. I don't know. I was to a point where I was thinking maybe you give Malik Ewan a start and see if that, catalyzes him a little bit. I'm not sure after tonight that I would do that. I mean, you're only able to get 8 minutes out of him. So my other thought would be you just bench him. And he's like the break glass in case of emergency guy, and you play with just 8 and get by Winthrop and show him like, hey, we can do this without you. So you can figure it out or don't. But then Pringle lays a complete egg tonight. It's like, well, you don't really want to reward him. I don't like the idea of not, starting either one of them, just going with Brazil and saying, the hell with it. We'll play small if you guys don't want to play like big men, which maybe is something they would consider doing. But I think you just got to continue to I hate to say this, like keep doing what you're doing, but it's way too early to just give up on these guys. And you don't have enough depth, I don't think, in the front court to where you can really afford to bench them or not play them. So yell at them, show them the film, call them soft, whatever you need to do. I think Pringle is going to respond and be fine. Like, I'm not really worried about him. I was disappointed in tonight, but they got to find a way to get Malik Ewan going a little bit. I don't know the answer to getting that done personally.
I think you got to go the Eric Musselman way. You remember that time he had that lineup with JD Note and 4 power forwards?
Yeah.
I think you just go DJ Wagner at the 1, Billy Richmond at the 2, Ewan at the 3, Brazil at the 4, Pringle at the 5. Just overcommit.
all big, all physical team.
Yeah, and they'll still like win. They'll win the rebounding battle by like 3.
Yeah. The hell with these freshmen, man. This is crazy. Oh man. Chris Sullivan says would rather play bad tonight and get it over our system with a win than play bad on game night against Duke. I agree. But you need to be getting a lot better if you're going to go and compete with an opportunity to beat Duke. And I don't necessarily feel like Arkansas has done that this week. They won both the games. You've got some things to build off, but I have more questions about this basketball team right now than I did when they left Michigan State with a loss.
Yeah, just because you lay an egg does not mean you got it out of your system.
I hope
you don't
they did.
believe me. Just look at the Arkansas Razorback football program. they will never get enough losses out of their system.
Yep. Fishman says hindsight Thero is very missed from what I see. Yeah, he was your best player last year.
Dude, you want to talk about effort and setting that tone, dude. those early, even in non-conference, bro, he would play so hard. He'd be sweating like full body sweats by the under 16 timeout, man. It was always, when you're a teammate and you're just seeing someone play that hard, it definitely makes you look in the mirror a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. Andrew Smith, excuse me, got choked up. Appreciate the super chat. He says, number one, I feel like Cal did not push this team at 100% to cut back on injury chances. Number two, the first half was playing no foul defense, thinking if we were not in foul trouble, we win. Love the show, Woo Pig Suey. They have been a little bit foul happy. Now, they only wound up with 14 in the game, but it seems like there's always somebody that gets two right away. And sometimes it's more than one somebody.
Happened to Acuff back-to-back possessions. He had one foul, was like sitting pretty, and then all of a sudden it was like, oh, weird offensive foul. Oh, weird, tried to blow up a screen. Yep, go sit on the bench.
Yeah, exactly. It was like 6 seconds. He got those two fouls there. I thought the first one was on Malik Ewan. I was kind of surprised that he got the call for that, and it looked like he was surprised about it too. It looked like Ewan was surprised because he kind of like the rare time that his jersey's tucked, he untucked it. He thought he was going right back to the bench, and it was Acuff that picked up the foul. It was kind of strange, but yeah, some of that. I don't know. We say that like number one, and I'm sure that's been something that they're aware of because of all the injury things that happened to them last year. They couldn't even practice. Like they've been able to get after it a lot more than they have, or than they were last year because they had 6 guys or whatever was going on there. Everything I've seen from them has been pretty intense behind the scenes, and like physicality didn't really seem to be like an issue when we were watching them in practice. And, from an injury standpoint, I know they've had, a couple guys who have been in and out, but maybe there's something to that. I don't know. We appreciate the love and for the show and everything. Yeah. Foul trouble. I thought Arkansas was great with limited numbers at defending without fouling last year, but I also think they're a little bit better with it's like communication and their rotations. They're a little bit off with that kind of stuff right now. But if you think back, and this is what gives me, I don't think hope's the word, but like confidence that, Acuff and Thomas are going to be just fine with some of that stuff. Remember how bad Carter Knox was this time last year as a defender? I mean, it was rough. The dude had no idea what he was doing out there, to the point where he was playing like 9 minutes a game because Cal just couldn't keep him out there. These guys are both better than that. And Carter's wound up being a really good defender for you. So they'll be all right. Arkansas says, couldn't watch, but paying my dues anyway. Thank you.
Appreciate that.
No need. I don't know. Depends on how you want to feel as to whether or not you want to go watch that. But
yeah, it's not a due. It's not a due. You are not due this, payment.
Yeah. Yeah. We got Ethan here. He says, excuse me, play Ewan and tell him he's not coming out until he has 10 rebounds. You might have to play him for like 6 games straight, but
we've got a lot of theories in the chat on what to do with Ewan.
Okay.
And most of them, I'd say most of them are just don't play him at all. And then the others are like play him a ton.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, I actually don't think is crazy.
Yeah, like let him play.
You know what I mean?
Out
Like
of
just
the
be like,
system.
hey, you're gonna play 25 minutes tonight. If you don't rebound, you play 8 minutes, you don't have a rebound, whatever. You play 25 minutes and you have 2 rebounds. Like there's no way around that. You can't blame, my rhythm. I didn't get my feet wet. Play 25 minutes. Like, give us something. There's got to be production.
Yes, for sure. Looks like we got one more clip from John Calipari here that we'll play. We'll react to that, get to a few more chats, and then we'll call it a night because we have football in the morning.
Bright and early.
Got to step up and make a play, either on defense or offense, and that means you got to be on your toes, not your heels. You can't be tentative now. They make a run, you got to make a play defensively or offensively. If you're on your heels, you'll drive a layup and you'll get bumped and you'll just throw it because you're on your heels. You'll get beat on a back door because you're flat-footed down the other end. Or you get beat on a back door, you turn and block it anyway. That's making a play. And those are the guys you want in the game that'll make plays on either end that are being aggressive even though the other team's making a run. You guys understand the schedule, who we're playing in the SEC. You better have guys playing aggressive and doing things that they can do. And they better make plays, or you're going to have, they're going to make a run, we'll make a run. They're making a run, we'll make a run. And that's kind of what happened today. Most of the teams we play will not play that deliberate. But again, they shot 41% and 34% from the three. You would have thought they shot, what, 60 and 45? But they didn't stop. They didn't have many turnovers, and neither did we. Neither one of us turned it over that much. But I'm just saying there were plays that we shoot the ball 45%, and we had plays around the basket. We threw it to a big, he throws it out. Scored a ball. There were things that happened, get bumped off and end up throwing, But I'm happy we won. I watched the tape and pick up what I got to pick up. Met with a couple of the guys already, so that if I don't see him tomorrow, I don't want him to sleep on it. I want him to know exactly how I feel. Not mad. This is real. This is me being real. Everybody says, Coach, we want you to be real. Until I'm being real with them. Why don't you be real with the other guy? Don't be real with me. But I think it's better that they can sleep on it. I'm not mad. You need to improve. Don't be delusional. Don't blame it on anybody. If you had a bad game, it's because of you, no one else on your team. You didn't have a good game. And like I said, for us to be some of the stuff we're doing that's on me. I got to demand more. Got to demand more. You demand a lot, you'll get a lot. You accept some of the stuff that you get out there, we're going to get it every single time. Can't accept some of that stuff, or you'll just keep getting it because it's the easiest way to go. Thanks, folks.
John Calipari, not accepting of mediocrity. How about that?
I like that. Who do you think, Curtis, is the player on the team that tried to blame his teammate for his poor performance? Do we have odds on SARACEN at this? Because he said that in two separate clips where he was like, "Don't tell me about your teammate and what he did. It ain't his fault. It's your fault." That's twice he's said that. Someone had to have done it. That's not something he just made up. So, but you think Ewan came in and was like, you know what? Nick Pringle's actually why I suck.
I don't think it was him. He's got to know, right?
Yeah, it's hard to blame anyone else.
By the way,
who
would be the odds for that?
I don't know. I'm wondering if maybe Malik. I think Malik Thomas is an underrated one because I bet that Malik tried to give him a smart answer of like, "Oh, I only did that because so and so didn't do this," and he's just like, "No." Take some accountability.
Yeah, you're talking to me, and you got this sophomore back who was supposed to be a guy for you. It's not, maybe. I don't know. That's very interesting. Who do you think were the couple guys that he already met with? DJ. See, he's probably just called, DJ seems like the guy you just have to the side after the game. Like, hey, what do you think?
Yeah, you always got to, you're asking DJ, hey, DJ, what went wrong, dude? What happened out there?
And then I'm telling you right now, and so this might answer the question that you just had. It's Malik Thomas. You know how I know? Because Cal is talking to Malik Thomas every second of every game. He talks to him in warm-ups. He talks to him during the game. I'm sure he talked to him after the game. So I bet that was the two guys, DJ and Malik, that he talked to.
I like that. He had to have talked to one of the bigs, though, right?
I don't know if I would want to after that game. I'd say if I did, I wouldn't be sitting up there at the press conference going, I'm not mad. It would have pissed me off to have to talk to
They should be having daily devotionals with Malik Ewan.
Yeah, something, man. Just a handful more chats, folks, and then we'll get out of here. Appreciate everybody for tuning in with us on this Friday night. I know everybody's got to get their beauty rest before the battle for the Golden Boot tomorrow. So, Big Salty Hog, good to see you, buddy, says we have to have Knox play to his potential or we will be booty this year. I would say you have to have Knox play to his potential if you're going to do the things you think you can do, or some of the things that we predicted him to do, or, reach your ceiling. He has to. There's no doubt in my mind about that. He certainly can't be playing like this. I don't know about booty. I think this team still has a relatively high floor. But yeah, I mean, if you're going to be talked about as a contender and could this be the group that gets Arkansas back to a Final Four or whatever, it ain't happening unless Carter Knox is at the very bare minimum the player he was last year, towards the end of last year, because he's not even that right now consistently. He showed us that he still got it in him against Central Arkansas. But yeah, I keep going back to what you were saying, Andrew, about not just Knox, but with a lot of these guys, of just the consistency of knowing what we're going to get and being able to bring it on a nightly basis. There's several guys who kind of meet that criteria that need to figure it out a little bit.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, think about how you would describe the things that Carter Knox did well last year. Pretty good spot up shooter, could knock down some threes, really strong around the rim, decent finisher. Gave you a lot of effort on the offensive glass, defensive glass, was a versatile defender. All of those things, that's all he needs. He doesn't need to add, this off the bounce. He has to be able to create this. Oh, he needs to be, do everything you did last year. Just do it more consistently, more efficiently, higher level, do it faster. We're all good. And I hope Carter knows that. It's not like we're asking you to reinvent the wheel here, buddy.
Yeah.
Just be you. Be you and be the best version of you. Seriously. Everybody says that to their child or whatever. Just be you. And that's bad advice. You need to actually probably do things different. Carter, that is good advice. He should actually just be himself.
As you were saying that, I was hearing Coach Cal say it to Carter.
Just be you, buddy.
Serenade me a little bit.
You're beautiful, Carter.
Showtime Fantasy Podcast says centers combining for 1 rebound is hilarious. But yeah, it's crazy to look at for sure. They got to get that rectified, man. That's nuts. I wouldn't call Samford the most physically imposing team in the world with a bunch of bigs. They had one large body dude in there that I kept seeing Darius Acuff get switched off on. And I don't know if that's really what you want to see there, but I will give him credit for fighting like hell in there in the post sometimes. But the dude was like a foot taller and at least 100 pounds heavier than Acuff in there. And I was like, good Lord, how's this happen? Zachary Van says we run better actions with Wagner at point guard. Yeah, maybe there might be something to that. I mean, he ran the point for Arkansas last year, so he's probably a little bit better at getting him initiated. I thought in the first half specifically that Darius Acuff did a better job of initiating the offense and getting them going in the half court than he did against UCA or Michigan State for that matter. But the second half, I feel like they kind of reverted back to some bad habits. What else do we have here? Oh, Kingsley. What's up, buddy? He says, Curtis, could this be about not exposing the things we know we do well to scouting and film study? Ricci, I know, but just asking.
I saw this one and I started and I was thinking about, because we were having the conversation about why they don't ball screen. We're like, hey, just use your bigs as weapons offensively, especially because they bring some of that skill set. I wondered if there's going to be a matchup where they're just going to spam pick and roll. They're saving it for something like the ace in the hole.
I hope so. God, I hope so. Because it is baffling. And we talked about it, so we don't have to go through it all again. But everything we saw leading up to their first exhibition game led us to believe that ball screens, dribble handoffs, and high post action was going to be a lot of what Arkansas did offensively. Because I remember even us having the conversation about okay, we're not seeing all the floppy nonsense, and it seems like this is going to be their bread and butter, and now it's not. So I don't know. You say it might be Ricci, and maybe it is, but I hope that you're onto something here, to tell you the truth. And then we'll end on this. Kingsley says nowadays the catchphrase is you got to be 3 points better than the Hogs to win in Bud, as opposed to 10.
You just got to be like a point and a half better or so.
It was not pretty in the beginning. It filled in nicely, I guess I would say, but I'm still underwhelmed with it. It's just got to be better, man. I'm frustrated by it. Here's one thing I'll point out. Had somebody who I know is close with a couple guys on the team who texted me pregame and was asking me what it looked like in there. And I was like, it's going to need to fill in a lot for us to be impressed. And there are some guys on the team who have been not mad at the fans or anything like that. I don't want it to come off that way, but maybe expected a little bit more, based on what they saw on their visits, at different times or whatever. I'm sure a lot of those guys came to big SEC games or whatever, but a lot of the sell for Arkansas, you got Coach Cal and, good team and, oh boy, Fayetteville, sure not, and everything like that. But a lot of it is, dude, Bud Walton Arena, man. Like it's as good as it gets out there. And it would probably be hard for some of those guys to see what they've seen so far and not be like, is it? And I know they could have played better, tonight and everything like that, but it has been underwhelming, and it is something that's been noticed. And I'm not blaming the fans for that, because we don't have to get into that conversation. Like, there's a flaw in the system in general that they've got to get figured out here. But it is disappointing to see what the crowds have looked like, and it is disappointing to hear that, yes, it is being noticed.
It's definitely being noticed by, I mean, how could they not notice it, frankly? Real quick, I just want to, I saw this comment, and I think this is a sentiment that a lot of people share. And so I'm not being overly critical of this point of view. He says the atmosphere in Bud will always be like this for small schools. Wait till a Duke or a Louisville comes there. So the second part of it, the Duke or Louisville, sure. Because I have no doubt on December 3rd, even though it'll be a Wednesday at 6 p.m., they will probably have 15, 16,000 people in there. It'll be much closer to a full arena, much better atmosphere, yada, yada. I cannot co-sign that first part of the statement because y'all cannot convince me. I have been to non-conference games in Bud my entire life growing up. When Stan Heath was the coach, I went to non-conference games. That, what was it, a packed house? No. But was it an actual atmosphere where the crowd was loud and we were all chanting together? There was more than one hog call? Yes. Like everyone always says, oh, well, it's just how it is for non-conference. To an extent, sure. You're never gonna have every seat filled for non-conference weekdays or whatever. Mm-hmm. To say that it's just a thing that always happens no matter what. And I think people are also underselling because he says it will be like this for small schools. When you say this, what I saw tonight, I never saw a crowd as bad as the one we saw tonight. I never saw one that bad, period, under Muss, unless it was a snow game, literally. Mm-hmm. Yeah, even those Hofstra games and even those Elon games or whatever, they weren't packed houses. Way better atmosphere, way more attendance, way better everything all across the board.
These early games here have felt to me like the Christmas break games. You know what I mean? Like the students are already gone, and you got some families in there or whatever, but people are saving up for the holidays, and it's just light crowds. I'm just being honest, like, and I know the way the game played out dictates some of that, but the loudest pop of the night was when the little kids were playing at halftime.
Dude, okay. Actually, Curtis, let's talk about that for a second. Those kids were draining shots, bro.
It was pretty impressive, man.
Pull-up threes, bro. They've been scrimmaging a lot at Bud Walton Arena lately. This was the best version.
Basketball, is just so much bigger than their heads and everything. Little dudes run around out there draining shots. But, it's an issue, man. I'll just leave it at that. It's an issue.
And we should leave it at that. And I really, you said it. We're going to say it again, though. It's not, we're saying, hey, it's your fault, fans. We understand the U of A
the problems.
Failed on a lot of things. We understand that it's a lot of corporations that own these tickets that are just sitting on them. Like, we get all of that. We're not blaming you. We are just addressing that this is a fact, and we think it's not going to change until everyone, including us, the fans, the administration, everybody, starts taking this very seriously. Because, I mean, we can complain all we want. If people don't want it to change, it ain't going to change.
Yeah, for sure. Andrew Smith says Cal would be the GOAT color commentator. It wouldn't surprise me if I don't know if he'll do that, but I could see him, being on a set somewhere or so. He's going to do something like that. Yeah. It wouldn't surprise me one bit. And he goes on so many different, radio shows and podcasts and whatever. Like he'll find something to do. He had that one, I can't remember what it was called, the coach's box, something like that. That he was doing for a while there, but yeah, he'll find a way to keep his voice out there. I have no doubt about that. Okay. Hour and 8 minutes after a 4-point win over Samford. Woo pig. Anything else you need to get off your chest before I say turn the page on this one, but I'm going to turn around and do the report card and put it out pretty quick tonight, and it ain't going to be pretty.
My only thing is, you know how you'll be in practice sometimes and they'll say, hey, 5 passes before a shot or 3 passes before a shot or whatever. I think Arkansas needs to implement a guard has to touch his feet in the paint with the ball before we can have a shot. Like Darius Acuff, just sprint to the restricted area and then we can start. And then we can maybe pass and shoot or whatever. But it's like, I think that mentality shift needs to happen because I'm so sick of Arkansas not attacking and getting into the paint. And then all of a sudden getting the defense to collapse and creating from there. That's my only final thought. I meant to make that point 30 minutes ago and I forgot.
Yeah, that's okay. I'm with you, man. A lot for this basketball team to work on. They won. Like we get it. And it's, I know there's probably maybe a smaller segment than normal out there who's like, why are you mad? They won a basketball game. You're just looking for reasons to be. No, listen, we have high expectations for this basketball team. They put it on themselves, man, with the roster that they built, and they're capable of doing a hell of a lot more than they did tonight. Yes, I hope that these are lessons learned in a victory. We get it, but be very anxious to see what these next couple games look like before they play Duke, because they do have to improve in a lot of areas. But appreciate everybody for tuning in as always. I know there's a lot of things you could do on your Friday night, and a lot of you chose to be in here with us and venting a little bit about this basketball game. So thank you. It's not lost on us. We appreciate all of you, super chatters, normal chatters, people who are just hanging out and listening. It's very cool. And so we wouldn't do this if you guys weren't interested. We hope you're interested in a little bit of football content. We're doing it. All right. So the least you could do is join us for that. Tune in tomorrow morning for the Inside Arkansas Football pregame show. What else are you going to do? I guess you can watch College Game Day again because ESPN, Disney, and YouTube came to an agreement. But you can also listen to us, and then make sure you join us for the football postgame show. We have no idea what this is going to look like, but we are going to be leaning on you guys as chatters heavily to get us through that. So thanks in advance for doing that. If you're not subscribed to the Inside Arkansas YouTube channel, do that while you're here. Andrew, did you put out your bombastic, right?
Did put up my bombastic with
listen
Joe
to that.
Very good
yes,
stuff.
Joe Doyle, good stuff. Andrew's doing a great job with the bombastic. Make sure you listen to that. I know it's November, but we can still think about in advance of the Diamond Hogs too. So we're gonna get out of here. Appreciate everybody. Shout out to intern Gigi, intern Cameron, producer John in the background tonight, and for Andrew Ellis and Curtis Wilkerson with Inside Arkansas on the Pot the Palace. You guys have a good rest of your weekend. We'll see you for the football stuff tomorrow, and we'll see you a little bit later here. At least I will, for the report card. You guys have a good one.